Hey, today here on the Magic Box we have a special change of pace. We're going to do a tribute to one of the great local magicians, Mr. Ken Horseman, known as Kenzo. He was a Ringling Brothers clown, the owner and operator of the Yogi Magic Shop in downtown Baltimore, and the owner of the Illusions Entertainment Bar in downtown, I guess you would call that Light Street area. We call that the South Baltimore area, right off Charles Street. So here we're going to enjoy memories of a great entertainer, Kenzo, Ken Horseman. We'll be right back.
Magic Shop, and we're going to have a lot of fun today. Eye on Baltimore.
Ken Horseman, great showman, former Ringling Brothers clown, lived here in Baltimore, and he made us proud. He's passed on now, but this whole segment, this whole show is going to be dedicated to the memory of a great Baltimorean, Ken Horseman, Kenzo the Clown. Here's an interview I had with him.
Okay, folks, here we are in Federal Hill at Kenzo's Yogi Magic Shop. Better give us the address, Ken.
1025 South Charles Street, right down to South Union Harbor.
All right, and of course, you and I are from South Baltimore.
That's right.
Talk about the neighborhood,
We're Baltimoreans.
We're Baltimoreans. Arians.
Believe it. I attended Old Southern High, and you went to...
I went to Mergenthaler.
Right down the street.
Up the street, northeast.
And look at us now.
Look at me now. We're sitting in a magic shop that you own. You're the owner.
Yes, sir, I am. Kenzo's Yogi Magic Mart, and we've been here at this location for like 18 years. And I started basically, I basically started as a clown, right? Went to Southern High School, graduated a couple years ago, and auditioned for Ringling Brothers and Bone and Belly Circus. Traveled on the show for 5 years. Came back to Baltimore, opened up a magic shop, and it's been a success since.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. I love the variety of things that you offer here. You offer juggling,
yes,
materials for makeup and face painting. You have the magic.
I try to be a full-line magic shop. Some magic shops are already called the old traditional magic shops. This way we can cover all the different bases from wigs, makeup, to close-up magic, books, videotapes, props. There's a variation of all different types of things. If you're in this type of business or interested in this type of business, we have available for you.
And of course, there's balloon sculpting.
Oh, absolutely. And then we even have gags. Can you imagine? Like disappearing ink and whoopee cushions.
Oh my goodness. And if you love learning through video, you have
a full line of videotapes, which now is exceptional for any entertainer or kids starting out in this business. And like myself, I started very young, and I guess you started very young. And back in those days, they didn't have that technology. So it's really good to see something visually, because some kids are readers and some are visual.
That's right.
I'm very visual.
I'm very visual too, and I also love reading. Talk about your books.
Oh, but books are also good. But for the visual also, for some kids to be able to see a trick performed, or learning how to juggle. If you explain, take one ball and throw it up in the air from your right hand to your left, and well, how far do you throw it, and where should it be, and so that visual helps some kids.
Well, now talk about your style of performance. You have a lot of energy. You're very bubbly.
I'm actually considered an Auguste clown. I have a different and unique makeup because it's a flesh tone up here on the top of my eyes, but a very big smile. Right now I don't have my makeup on, but you can imagine the smile when I exaggerate that. Once you apply the makeup, you're basically exaggerating your features even more with your eyes and your mouth and things like that.
All right, and some of the skills you picked up in clowning?
Oh, geez, since I was actually I couldn't ride a two-wheel bicycle until I was 13 years old.
Wow.
What? You said, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what happened? I used to give all my new bicycles that I would get each year for Christmas to my older brothers. I don't want to ride. No, you got it. Then I'll go to Ringling Brothers Circus, and I see a clown coming down the track, want a unicycle. Mom, for my next birthday, I want a unicycle. Sure, Kenny. No, sir, I want a unicycle. Why do you want a one-wheel bike? This is my parents. I want to ride a unicycle to go into the circus. Oh, sure, okay. I finally convinced them. 13th birthday here, nice little unicycle. First day I walked out to this little playground up here on Riverside Park, okay, held onto the fence, got on top of the unicycle, and just let go. Went like 1 foot, and then 2 feet, and then 3 feet, and then further and further and further. The end of that day I was riding maybe about 12 feet. The next day 20 feet. But that's how, determined I was to learn how to ride a unicycle. And I figured if I'm going to go to a circus, I have to learn how to ride a unicycle. And then learn how to juggle and things like that.
Wow. And then you spent a portion of your career with Ringling Brothers.
Yes, that's right.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we come back from break, we're going to talk some more about the career of Ken Horstman, who is the owner of the Yogi Magic Shop, the Kenzo's Yogi Magic Shop. We'll be right back.
I hope you're enjoying this memory tribute to Ken Horstman. I'm enjoying it. It brings back a lot of pleasant memories. He was my friend, Ken Horstman, Kenzo the Clown. Hey, look, we're going to be right back with more of this memory sharing here on the Magic Box. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm John Carrington, and this is the Magic Box, and it's my job to help you understand there's magic in the world. Matter of fact, the world is magical. There's this system called time. That's right, time. That's when the Earth spins, and because of the location of the sun, we can tell what time it is. Well, the Earth is spinning clockwise. That means that east is the first part of the world to see the sun, and then as the world turns, the western part of the world sees the sun. And that's called time. Time is broken into zones in America. In America, we have 4 time zones. There's the East Coast, then there's the Central Time, then there's Mountain Time, and then there's Pacific Time. It's really amazing. I'll show you how it works. Here is the sun, and here's the Earth. As the Earth turns, let's just say the sun comes up, and it's 10 minutes after 9 in the morning. There's our clock right there. Put that clock right there. I'm glad that clock rang, because that reminded me that the Earth has the East Coast exposed. There it is right there. There's the East Coast right there. And I'm noticing I'm turning the world clockwise. So there's the East Coast, and it's 10 minutes after 9 on the East Coast. So the Earth starts to turn, and, well, what do you know? Oh my goodness. Well, there's a clock right there. It's now 10 minutes after 9 in Central Time Zone. The Central Time Zone is that part of the world that now has enough sun that the clock should read 10 minutes after 9. So the Earth continues to turn. Remember, it's turning clockwise. So the next thing, the world is turning. Well, what do you know? It's mountain time. That means that the mountains are now getting sunlight in America. So we're going to place that clock right there, because that reminds us that the Earth has turned, and now it is 10 minutes after 9 in mountain time. So the world continues to turn, and well, there it is. There's the clock that says that it's now 10 minutes after 9 in Pacific time. Pacific time. That's our Pacific coast. That's California, right? So now we've learned that there are 4 time zones in America. There's the Eastern Standard Time, there's Central Time, there's Mountain Time, and there's Pacific Time. So you see, the world turns, and what do you know? Once a day, somewhere in the world, it's going to be 10 minutes
after 9. But that's because the world turns and the sun helps to bring sunlight to every part of the world during the course of the day. So I can safely say time is a magical thing as the world turns.
Welcome back to the Magic Box. This is John Carrington, and we're paying tribute to Ken Horseman, taking a trip down memory lane, a fellow who left Baltimore to join the circus, literally to join the circus, and he did. He was hired by Ringling Brothers Circus, and he toured for at least 5 years, going around America making people smile as Kenzo the Clown. Well, Ken Horseman is no longer with us, but he left some fine memories. Let's take a look at this.
Ken, talk about those old days, the circus days.
I was very, very fortunate, actually. You had to fill an application out at that time, and the application was probably 36 inches by 36 inches. And it had hundreds of questions on this big piece of paper, like when's the last time you cried? What's your favorite music? What is your favorite foreign country to visit? They want to know what made you eat, breathe, circus. You're working around 100 different nationalities. And I was able to get selected. I went to the Armory in Washington, D.C. and auditioned. My mom, we took a train over to the Armory, and she said, Kenny, I'll help you any way I possibly can. And she basically said, okay, we bought 2 tickets, went to the Armory, auditioned there in the center ring for Ringling Brothers and Bone and Belly Circus. And I finished, and they gave me this big application, and they said, fill this out, send it back in. I was lucky. They received back in 1977 close to 6,000, 7,000 applications. They only select 55 students from around the country, okay? So I was very fortunate, and you're there in training for 10 weeks long, and it is so intense, 6 days a week, from 7 in the morning till like 12 midnight. They want to make sure, because to live and travel like we do in a circus, you live on a circus train, okay, a mile long, and you're living with 350 people, a couple hundred animals. They want to make sure you can handle this, okay? That means you want to make sure you have the energy level and the travel experiences and living in close quarters with all these people, working in these big arenas. I mean, it was an incredible experience, but I was so lucky. After the graduation, they have this big graduation, and they give you this little number, and they have your photo with a number on one page and a photo on the other. And all the directors and the owner of the circus at that time was Mr. Irvin Feld, okay? And his son, he's passed away, but his son now owns the circus, Kenneth Feld. And he had these photos, and for 3 hours long, 55 clowns would do all these different skits, and then they would select the certain ones that they wanted. That year, they hired 11 clowns. I was one of 11. I was very fortunate. 19 years old, working for Ringling Brothers and Bone and Belly Circus, the greatest show on earth. And it was the end of the era. Emmett Kelly spoke at my graduating class. I worked with Lou Jacobs, Otto Griebling, Dwayne Thorpe, Bobby Kay, and I learned so much in those 5 years because they were just getting ready to pass. And also, that was the last era. Those clowns even worked under the tents because the tent circus went indoors when Irvin Feld bought it in '68. Okay, that's when Clown College was established also. So I was very lucky to be around that type of clown to learn from the tops. Same thing with my son. That's why I'm very impressed with my son. You ask him something about the business, he knows the history. He knows Paul Winchell personally. He's been around all these old performers, and that's how you learn. You need to have the history first. You can learn so much from the history versus, there's a lot of new talent coming out, but always try to learn your history first. You know, so I was lucky, traveled on the show for 5 years, learned so much, played Madison Square Garden. 19 years old in Madison Square Garden, Superdome, the Astrodome, traveled the entire country. meeting so many people. It was just exceptional. It's not like a college.
What advice do you have for up-and-coming clowns or people who think they might want to be a clown?
Just starting books. There are numerous books around. Try to see as many shows you can. Live entertainers. Live entertainment is still around. You just have to search it out. There's more like computer things now, but actually live shows. Go and see as many as you possibly can. Be it singers, dancers, clowns, magicians, unicycles, jugglers. They're still entertainers, and every entertainer has a uniqueness about them that you can learn one little piece from them that you can put into your act, or get an idea of what you think you would like to pursue as your niche or whatever. You know, some of us are clowns, some of us are magicians. I'm a children's entertainer. I love children. That's why I enjoy having this magic shop, because I get to sell magic to kids starting at 8, 10, 12 years old. And I've watched, since me being here 18 years, this location, some of these kids now are young men, and they come back and perform tricks for me who've excelled so much more than I have even, in close-up magic and card tricks. And Spencer's a fine example of that, my son.
Speaking of Spencer, let's take a clip. Let's take a look at Spencer performing.
My name is Spencer Horseman. I'm 13 years old. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
We're going to load you down stage left.
I started out with magic when I was about 5 or 6, doing a lot of, small little tricks that everybody starts out with, mostly close up, and then just the ventriloquism got into, and headed on from there.
Now I want you to imagine that you're 13 years old and your dad is a magician and he owns a magic shop. What would you want to be when you grow up? That's right, a ventriloquist. Folks, say hello to Spencer Horseman.
Thank you, Lance. Snap out of it. What are you staring at?
You! There's something about you that looks familiar.
We've been together for years. Of course I look familiar.
No, it's something else. You remind me of someone in the movies.
Well, if the lighting is right, people say I look like Brad Pitt. All right, Dexter, I get your point.
What lighting? Dark?
Now, Dexter, if you're good, after the show, I'll give you a nice shiny nickel.
Nah, I'll take a dirty old quarter instead.
Wow, man, he is certainly a chip off the old block. I mean, that Spencer is great. He's terrific.
It's very unique to see, like, say a lawyer or a doctor, okay? You say, oh, I'd like for my son to get into this business. But sometimes they're just not prepared for that type of business. And you don't know if they really have the talent or the ambition to even pursue this, and because it's very hard work. So then you think about it and you say, okay, you'll show him a little trick. In fact, right here, Spencer, I used to be up here in the office, and Spencer said, come on, Dad, take me down and teach me a trick. I'd teach him a little trick here at 4 years old. And then he'd learn that, and he'd come back and go, Dad, here, teach me that. And now he's teaching me, John. Okay, he's teaching me. I no longer watch him perform. I watch the audience, and I watch the reaction from their eyes, their laughter, and it's so fulfilling to see that he is my son.
Yeah.
I can't believe he is fulfilling a dream that, it's not really something you go to a university and you say, okay, I'm going to buy this talent. It has to be you. It has to be your passion. And his passion, his eyes, his face just lights up. And he's so warm. He's on stage and he loves entertaining. It's one of his top things to do right now. It's his whole world. So he's very lucky to find at a young age, like I was. I was very fortunate.
Well, let's talk about some of the stalwarts in the art of magic and clowning. Houdini, for example.
Houdini, excellent, phenomenal. He was a wonderful promoter, but also a wonderful performer. You think about early 1900s when Houdini was really famous. Okay, a man like that, there was no television. Everything was live. Okay, so when he did a famous escape in a barrel or something like that, or a straitjacket, all the media was there and newspaper. So he would read about Houdini, this magician. He's coming to our little town to do this elaborate show. So live shows back in those days were totally different versus today. You take a camera like this is even right now. How many viewing people are watching us versus before? You'd have to send out a newspaper announcement. Please come down and see the tent. Da da da. So now it's a totally different media. But he set the standards for just famous magicians, and not just him. You have like all the posters in here. You had Blackstone was a very famous magician back in those days. Alexander the Great, Randy, and then Thurston was super, and then Carter the Great, and he was a very big name back in the early 1920s and 30s. But now look at it today, where David Copperfield is just a phenomenal performer, one of the highest paid entertainers in the world. You know, and for magic. And you think, well, wait, he's not a singer, he's not a dancer, he's not a famous actor, a magician. So for a magician to be on that level of the business, and this is it, it's the arts, it's to be on that top level, to take a magic art and put it that high in standards. People are waiting in line for tickets to see his show in Las Vegas. They're sellouts.
Hey, are you enjoying this? This is wonderful. Ken Horstman, my friend. In fact, he got me one of my most powerful jobs in the entertainment business. I was in the shop and he said, John, they're looking for a fella to play a clown. I said, huh? Play a clown? He said, I'm a black guy. How can I play a clown? He said, John, there are others who've done it. I said, who? And he showed me a list of guys who performed as a clown and they were black. I said, well, Ken, how do I do? He said, you put in an application. I put in the application and lo and behold, I got the job. And for the next 12 years, I was hired by a major corporation to do clowning. And boy, did I enjoy that. I mean, my whole life turned into a circus. Hey, let's take a look at this.
Welcome back to our time show. It's our show about clocks and time and all the things you can do within that time frame. So, are you having a good time?
Okay, we're going to take a break on that one. And this is the Magic Box, and I'm John Carrington. Don't go anywhere. We got more to share. Hey, welcome back. This is the Magic Box, and today's show is a special tribute to Ken Horstman, known professionally as Kenzo the Clown. Great entertainer, plenty of jokes, good magic, and he was also a teacher and a mentor. He taught me some things about magic and clowning, and he also provided me with the equipment I needed to entertain children all around the Maryland, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia area. I had a wonderful time. Ken Horstman definitely left a mark on the magic industry and a mark on everybody here in the Baltimore area. Let's take a look at this.
Whoa, that was very interesting. I'm fascinated by the big names in show business. Many of them appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show. Emmett Kelly, for example.
Right. Well, Ed Sullivan was a great avenue for new acts. He would discover them. Like, look at the Beatles, a lot of big famous acts, even bands, variety acts. He was a variety show. That's one thing we are kind of lacking and missing right now at this point. Where does an act, like a live act, like a juggler, a unicyclist, or ventriloquist, or a magician, or a clown, get a start? Ed Sullivan broke all these acts open, you know, and made them famous. You know, they would give anything to be on their show at least one time. One time is all it would need, and all of a sudden they were like, "And wow, look at this! You mean you work where?" You know, and for like even my son Spencer, he was on the David Letterman show when he was 8.5 years old. What an experience to be a little boy like that. And that theater is the original Ed Sullivan Theater where David Letterman's taped. Wow. So the history, you know, and when you really get into more and more entertainers, there's so much history about where people start and where they finish. And that's why I love circus. Circus people. I remember sitting in the back in Clown Alley, which they thought it was a real alley, but it wasn't. They referred to it as Clown Alley, where all the clowns would make up and get dressed in a wardrobe. And you'd see a little kid in the back there maybe playing on the floor or something with cars and stuff, and they're speaking all these different languages. And then all of a sudden, you hear a different tune come on from the acts being out in the arena. The little boy would jump up, run into his dressing room, put his costume on, his wardrobe, and next thing you knew, he's out there in a flying trapeze. 10, 12 years old, risking his life.
Wow.
You know, next generation, third generation. And the same thing with me, with Spence. It's so fulfilling to see. I was the first entertainer in my family. My father was a merchant marine, and my mom actually worked at a book bindery, okay? And now Spencer's parents were clowns. I mean, what kind of mix, you know, two professional clowns from the circus, and he wants to be a magician and a ventriloquist.
Wow.
So, but it's very unusual to see your next generation carry on in the same kind of life, or for a living, you know, for a future.
That's fascinating. Red Skelton is a unique blend of experiences and talents. He came from vaudeville.
That's right.
And he made the transition. A lot of people from vaudeville did not make that jump to television.
And why also did he make that transition?
He had to eat. Eating regular becomes a habit.
Yes, it does. But more importantly, he was a very clean entertainer.
Okay.
He would not use one foul word, or which would be considered blue material back in those days. You know, and even I remember him coming. I actually had the privilege of eating with him. He'd invite the whole clowns over in Nashville, Tennessee. He was staying at an arena in a building next to us, and invite us all over to have lunch with him. And he stood there and would pass each of us our plates. So humble. He came from very poor beginnings. You know, raised in a little one-room house and near a railroad track and stuff, and just so humble. And when I left the circus a few years ago, he came downtown just before he passed away, and my wife and my son and I went to see him. And I took the photo that we took together, Red Skelton and I gave it to his helper there, and he took it back to the dressing room. Within 5 minutes, they said, "Hey, come on back. Red Skelton wants to see you." And we had such a wonderful conversation, just real quick, and but it was just such a, you know, just a warmth and entertainers. And you get to, like I say, a certain level in this business, it is one big family. No matter if you are a singer or a dancer or a magician or a clown, you're on a certain level, and everyone is very professional and warm and welcoming into this business.
Contrast for me what's going on now in the entertainment industry, all this blue material and people afraid to let their children watch television, compared with what you grew up doing.
I don't know. I watched the Three Stooges. What could be any more violent? Look at me. I'm okay. You know, but it's a different era. I believe when you and I were sitting around, we used to watch Abbott and Costello. I love them.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Speaking of Abbott and Costello, we got a real treat for you. Watch this.
Oh, I hope you learned and enjoyed just looking back down memory lane at the contribution Ken Horseman made to local magic and entertainment. Probably the strongest legacy he left us was his son Spencer Horseman, fellow who competed on America's Got Talent, and he's now the owner of the Illusions Entertainment Show Bar, and he's a wonderful, wonderful role model for our young people. Find something that you love and pursue it with energy and enthusiasm, and you'll get a return on that caring and sharing. This is the Magic Box. I'm John Carrington, and I want to thank you for joining us for this special walk down memory lane with the memory of Ken Horseman, Kenzo the Clown. Hey, I'm John Carrington. See you next time on the Magic Box. Bye-bye.